Magandang araw and mabuhay sa inyong lahat. Welcome to our virtual tour of the Philippines, a country rich in history, diverse cultures, and vibrant traditions. We are from Hiraya Tours, and today we will take you on a journey across the islands as we explore important museums, historical landmarks, traditional dances, and indigenous practices that shape Filipino identity. Join us as we rediscover the past, celebrate our heritage, and understand what it truly means to be Filipino.
Let's begin our journey by visiting various museums here in our country to preserve and showcase our nation's history, heritage, and historical legacy.
Our first stop is the well-known National Museum of the Philippines, located along Padre Burgos Avenue in Ermita, Manila. This museum serves as the country's national repository for our natural and cultural heritage. It plays a crucial role in preserving archaeological, ethnographic, artistic, and historic artifacts that reflect the identity of every Filipino people. One of the highlights inside the museum is the famous paintings Polarium by Juan Luna. Visitors can also see the ancient gold artifacts, historic burial jars from early Philippine civilizations. The National Museum is highly relevant to Philippine history because it showcases proof of pre-colonial society, emphasizing Filipino craftsmanship and strengthen our national identity through historical and cultural education.
Next up is the Museo Cebu, a place where the echoes of prisoners have been replaced by the whispers of history. Located at Cebu City, Cebu, Philippines, it was built in 1871 and now serves as a grand storyteller of the region. The museum preserves the history and culture of Cebu and is housed in a former Cebu Provincial Jail, a Spanish-era building that is itself a historical landmark. Few of its key collection or exhibits feature archaeological artifacts from pre-colonial Cebu, such as pre-colonial gold and burial jars that prove Cebu's ancient trade routes, historical photographs and documents, sovereign collection of World War II memorabilia, and displays Cebu culture and tradition. The museum highlights Cebu's important role in Philippine history, from early trade, colonization, to wartime experiences, helping connect regional history to the national story.
Stop is the Ayala Museum, located at the Greenbelt Park, Makati Avenue, corner De La Rosa Street, Makati City, Metro Manila, Philippines. It is situated in the heart of the Makati Central Business District. The museum was envisioned in the 1950s by artist Fernando Zobel de Ayala y Montojo and established in 1967 as a project of the Ayala Foundation, formerly Filipinas Foundation. It was the first major private museum in the Philippines and has served for decades as a premier cultural institution. Its 2004 relocation to a building designed by Leandro V. Locsin and partners headed by Leandro E. Locsin Jr. marked a modernization of how Philippine history is presented to the public. It serves as a breathing space and a vital repository dedicated to situating Philippine art and history within a global context, acting as a bridge between the country's pre-colonial past and its contemporary identity. Its key collections or exhibits features the diorama experience. It consists of 60 handcrafted dioramas that chronicle the history of the Philippines from prehistoric times to the 1986 People Power Revolution. The Gold of Ancestors, a massive collection of over 1,000 gold artifacts, sashes, jewelry, and ritual objects, dating from the 10th to the 13th centuries, showcasing the sophisticated pre-colonial societies of the Philippines. A Millennium of Contact, a display of trade ceramics from China to Southeast Asia found in the Philippines, illustrating centuries of maritime trade and cultural exchange. The Boat Gallery, miniature replicas of ancient and colonial watercraft like the Balangay and Spanish galleons, highlighting the Philippine seafaring heritage. Fine Arts Collection. It includes iconic works by Philippine masters such as Juan Luna, Fernando Armosolo, and Fernando Zobel. And lastly, the Filipinas Heritage Library, or FHL. It is located on the 6th floor. It houses thousands of rare books, photographs, and maps, serving as a leading electronic research center for Philippine studies. The Ayala Museum serves as a powerful bridge between the Philippines' forgotten past and its modern identity. It showcases pre-colonial narrative through the gold of ancestors and ceramic exhibits. The museum challenges the notion that the Philippines was uncivilized before Spanish arrival, proving instead that early Filipinos were skilled goldsmiths and active participants in global trade. Second is visual storytelling. The dioramas provide a standardized visual narrative used by generations of Filipino students to understand pivotal events such as the execution of Jose Rizal and the Declaration of Independence. Third is maritime identity. The museum emphasizes the Philippines as an archipelagic nation, using its boat and map collections, including the famous 1734 Murillo Velarde map, to define the country's physical and cultural territory. Finally, its modern art history. By housing the works of Luna and Armosolo, the museum tracks the evolution of Filipino identity from colonial subjects to modern artists.
Next, let's visit some of the country's most significant historical sites, places where important events in the Philippines' history took place.
Let's first go to the one most significant historical sites in the Philippines, the Fort Santiago, located at the famous Intramuros, Manila, in the Philippines. It was built in 1571 by Spanish named Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. It served as military fortress during the Spanish colonial period and later became a key defense structure of Manila. There are few major events associated with the site where it used a stronghold during the Spanish occupation and later served as prison during the Japanese occupation and World War II, where many Filipinos prisoned suffered and died, and closely associated with Dr. Jose Rizal, who was imprisoned there before his execution. Now, Fort Santiago is a well-preserved historical park managed by the Intramuros administration. It is open to the public as museum and tourist attraction, with ongoing conservation and restoration efforts to protect its structures and artifacts.
Next, let's visit another historical site that holds an important place in Philippine history. The Aguinaldo Shrine is situated along Tirona Highway in Kawit, Cavite, overlooking the historical shores of Manila Bay. The sprawling mansion was the ancestral home of General Emilio Aguinaldo, the first president of the Republic. Originally built in 1845, the house was remodeled in the 1920s to include its iconic Independence balcony and the towering 5-story spire. Aguinaldo donated the home to the government in 1963, a year before his death, to serve as a perpetual monument to Filipino bravery. Few of its key historical significance, including the birth of the nation, on June 12, 1898, between 4 to 5 p.m., the act of the Declaration of Independence was read from a window. Second, the flag hoisting. This event marked the first official hoisting of the Philippine flag and first public performance of the national anthem, then known as the Marcha Nacional Filipina. Additionally, the mansion is still preserved and has few architectural features, including Independence balcony where the Declaration of the Independence was made, Aguinaldo's tomb at the back of the house, a museum that has original furnitures, artifacts, and first secret passages in hidden compartments in certain furnitures. And lastly, the annual commemoration where the government officials gather annually for the Independence Day flag-raising ceremony. Today, it is now considered as a National Historical Landmark managed by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, or known as NHCP.
For our last stop, let's visit a historical landmark, the Rizal Park, or also known as the Luneta Park. located at Ermita, Manila, near the Manila Bay. It was originally known as Bagong Bayan Field. During the Spanish period, it was used as an execution ground for Filipino patriots. The most significant event associated with Rizal Park is the execution of Dr. Jose Rizal on December 30, 1896. His death inspired the Filipino people to continue the fight for independence from Spain. Rizal Park is now a National Historical Park and a memorial. It is well maintained and serves as a symbol of Filipino nationalism and freedom.
Now, let's experience the cultural performances here in the Philippines, as these performances express the creativity, tradition, and the spirit of the Filipino people. To begin with, let me introduce you to Singkil, a royal cultural performance of Philippines that originated in Mindanao, specifically in Lanao del Sur. Singkil is a traditional dance of the Maranao people, whose name means people of the lake, referring to their homeland near Lake Lanao. This dance is inspired by Darangin, an ancient Maranao epic passed down through generations. It tells a story of a royal princess who remains graceful and composed while escaping a powerful earthquake in a mystical forest. One of the most remarkable elements of Singkil is the use of bamboo pools, which represents the shaking of earth and falling trees. As the bamboo pools moves rhythmically, the dancers carefully steps in and out, showing balance and elegance for a scarf, symbolizing her royal status or refined grace. The performance is accompanied by the kulintang ensemble, a traditional Maranao musical instrument that sets the rhythm, mood of the dance, reflecting harmony between humans, nature, and the spiritual world. Singkil is traditionally performed during royal celebrations, festivals, and important cultural gatherings. More than just a dance, it is a living tradition that preserves Maranao identity, history, and cultural pride. Through Singkil, we gain a deeper appreciation of the richness and diversity of the Filipino culture.
Next, let's witness a cultural performance that showcases the grace and rhythm. The Kuratsa is widely considered the most popular traditional dance in the Eastern Visayas, particularly in Samar Leyte. While its name suggests a link into the Mexican La Cucaracha or the Spanish Cucaracha, the dance has been thoroughly Filipinized over the centuries. Historically, it began as a social dance during the Spanish colonial period, blending European rhythmic precision with the spirited earthbound energy of the Visayan people. Unlike near-Terga folk dances, the Kuratsa is inherently improvisational, allowing the dancers to display their individual personality and wit. The Kuratsa is a narrative courtship and a social bonding. It is not merely a performance for an audience, it is a ritual of partnership. It expresses the playful chase of love, where the male suitor must prove his agility and persistence to win the favor of his partner. Through that, we can say that the dance itself expresses love, playfulness, and partnership. The dance is famously divided into 3 distinct phases that tells a story. First, the couple performs a slow, graceful walk around the floor, acknowledging the community and each other. Second, the movements become a mimicry of nature, specifically the rooster, the male, pursuing the hen, the female. The man performs energetic footwork and arm flourishes, while the woman playfully evades him, swaying hips and fans. Finally, the dance culminates into the gala or the burlas. This is a unique tradition where the guests throw money onto a cloth spread on the floor or pin bills onto the dancer's clothing.
Explore one of the well-known cultural performances here in the Philippines, the Tinikling. It originates in the Visayas region of the Philippines, particularly in Leyte. Tinikling is believed to have originated during the Spanish colonial period. The dance was inspired by the movements of the tikling bird as it skillfully avoids bamboo traps set by farmers. Tinikling is commonly performed during fiestas, cultural festivals, school programs, and national celebrations such as Independence Day. Tinikling remains one of the most popular and widely performed Filipino folk dances. It is taught in schools, showcased in cultural presentations, and promoted by cultural organizations to preserve Filipino heritage.
Finally, let's explore indigenous practice that reflect the identity, beliefs, values, and the way of life of various Filipino communities.
Go. I'll introduce to you one of the unique indigenous practices here in Philippines, the Tiboli dream weaving, or also known as Tinalak weaving. Deep in the highlands of South Cotabato in Mindanao, the Tiboli people practice the sacred art of Tinalak weaving. More than just a craft, it is a spiritual dialogue. The intricate patterns are never drawn on paper, but are instead revealed in dreams by Fu Dalu, the spirit of Appa. Only chosen women, known as dream weavers, carry the honor of translating these celestial visions into physical form. Using a traditional backstrap loom and natural dyes, they transform raw abaca fibers into a sacred cloth that mirrors the soul of their community. For the Tiboli, every tinalak is a masterpiece of identity, a bridge between the physical world and the divine, woven together to sanctify weddings, births, and the solemn rituals of the tribe.
For our second indigenous practice, let me introduce you to Pagdiwata, a sacred ritual of the Tagbanwa people of Palawan. This ritual is performed to honor nature spirits and deities, usually during Thanksgiving for a bountiful harvest, healing ceremonies, or when community seeks guidance and protection. Through chanting, dancing, and offerings, Pagdiwata expresses the Tagbanwa people's deep respect for nature and their belief in spiritual harmony. Up to this day, Pagdiwata continues to be practiced, preserving the strong spiritual connection between the Tagbanwa people, their environment, and their ancestral traditions.
To begin with, let me introduce you to Bayanihan, an indigenous practice in the Philippines that represents a strong spirit of unity and cooperation among Filipinos. Bayanihan originated in pre-colonial Filipino communities, particularly in rural barangays across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. This practice is commonly associated with various cultural communities such as Tagalog, Ilocano, Kapampangan, and Visayan groups, where community life depend heavily on mutual support. Historically, Bayanihan developed as a survival strategy. Early Filipinos relied on one another for farming, house building, and protection. Helping a neighbor was not seen as a favor, but as a shared responsibility. Over time, Bayanihan became a symbol of the Filipino identity and communal values. The main purpose of Bayanihan is to provide help without expecting anything in return. It promotes unity, compassion, and social harmony within the community. A well-known example of this practice is the collective carrying of your neighbor's house using bamboo pools, ensuring that no family is left behind. Bayanihan is traditionally practiced during important community activities such as moving houses, harvesting crops, preparing homes, and preparing for celebrations. After the task, a host family or the host family usually shares a simple food as a sign of gratitude and reinforcing social bonds. The tool used in Bayanihan depend on the activity and may include bamboo, ropes, woodens, supports, and basic farming tools such as bolos and hoes. These simple tools highlights the resourcefulness of cooperation of the community. Overall, Bayanihan is more than just a practice. It is a way of life that reflects the Filipino values, unity, kindness, and most importantly, shared responsibility. Through Bayanihan, we see how indigenous tradition continue to shape the Filipino sense of community and solidarity. Thank you.
As our virtual tour comes to an end, we are reminded that Philippine history lives not only in books, but in our museums, historical sites, cultural performances, and indigenous traditions. Each place and practice we visited tells a story of resilience, creativity, and identity. By learning from our past and honoring our culture, we strengthen our understanding of who we are as Filipinos. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the heart of the Philippines. Hanggang sa muli, paalam!